I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Board of Directors for the Village of Bartlett for May 21st. It is 7 p.m. and I'm going to call the roll first. Trustee Kammerer?
Present.
Carbonaro?
Present.
Daney?
Here.
Gabrenya? Here. Hopkins?
Here.
Ranke?
Present.
And President Wallace is absent. Is there a motion to appoint a chairman for the meeting in the absence of President Wallace?
Yes, I move to appoint Trustee Kammerer as chairman for the meeting this evening.
I'll second that.
Okay. And we'll do a roll call for that. Trustee Kammerer?
Abstain.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Gabrenya?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranke?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries, and I appoint Chairman Kammerer as the chairman of the meeting.
And before we start, I would really hope that Trustee Kammerer runs a better meeting than the mayor.
That's not going to happen. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our village board meeting as we've just been introduced by our clerk. This evening, we have requested Susan Tyrell, the pastor from the Emmanuel United Church of Christ, to do our invocation. And would you all please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance immediately following.
Let us be in the spirit of prayer. Lord God, you amaze us with your creation once again, from sun to rain, from cold to warmth, and back again. You are too much to fathom. And yet we pause asking for your omnipresence, you everywhere at all times, as this body manages a village, being mindful of the world's situations and the perplexities that involve so many different peoples. We ask for your grace, so bless these proceedings and us. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Tyrell. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, this brings us to the consent agenda this evening. All items listed with an asterisk will be enacted in one motion with no separate discussion of items covered under the consent agenda. Does anyone have any items they would like to add or take from the consent agenda this evening?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to add items B1, B2, and B3 to the consent agenda.
Okay. And I think that covers all the available items. So I'll entertain a motion to amend the consent agenda to include the following that would be added. The board and committee minutes from May 7th, 2019, and the bills list for May 21st, 2019. And under community and economic development, B1, a resolution supporting and consenting to the Class 6B eligibility application of Elmhurst Chicago Stone Company for proposed Lot 1 in the Brewster Creek Business Park, 26.32 acres, Bartlett, Illinois. B2, Stearns and Munger early earthwork request. B3, a resolution approving of the public improvement completion agreement Stearns and Munger among the Village of Bartlett, LPC Bartlett 1, LLC, and Triumph Construction Services Corp. B4, ordinance granting variations to the side yards and accessory building height for the Forest Trails Horse Stable at 600 South Bartlett Road. F1, ordinance accepting the public improvements for Lot 9B2 at 1365 Brewster Creek Boulevard. And F2, purchase of a 2019 Ford F-250 XL 4x2 pickup truck.
So moved.
Second.
A motion was moved by Trustee Daney and seconded by Trustee Hopkins. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Ranke?
Yes.
Kammerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney,
Yes.
Cabrera,
Yes.
Hopkins.
That motion passes. All right. Next item on the agenda is the Treasurer's report. Mr. Treasurer, do you have
Before you do that, you entertained a motion to amend the consent agenda.
Oh, that's
but You
right.
went through each item.
Okay.
Honestly, we could do it in one motion, but the way the motion was made, now there should be a motion to approve of the consent agenda as amended,
Okay,
and a second and a roll call.
all right. Well, now I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion was moved by trustee Daney, seconded by trustee Carbonaro. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Cameron,
Yes.
Carbonaro,
Yes.
Daney,
Yes.
Cabrera,
Yes.
Hopkins, Ranky.
Yes.
That motion carries. Now we'll move on to the Treasurer's report. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you. Included in your packets for tonight is the March Treasurer's Report. Also included is the sales tax report. It shows that we had $181,590 for the month of January compared to $196,000 last year, so we were down just a little over 7%. Also included MFT receipts. We received $81,313 compared to $80,765 last year. So we're up slightly from last year, and we're still on track to be on budget with the MFT receipts. That's it for the Treasurer's report. Thank you.
Any questions for the Treasurer? Hearing none, the next item is the President's report. It's the reading of the National Public Works Proclamation. Proclamation of the National Public Works Week, May 19th through the 25th, 2019. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water supply, wastewater treatment, and sanitary sewers, storm sewers, streets and highways, and forestry, and whereas the health, safety, and comfort of a community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works officials, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel of public works departments is supported when citizens understand the importance of public works, and whereas the year 2019 marks the 59th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now, therefore, I, Michael Kammerer, Village President Pro Tem of the Village of Bartlett, Cook, DuPage, and Kane counties, do hereby proclaim May 19th through the 25th, 2019, as the National Public Works Week in the Village of Bartlett. Next item would be some questions by to the staff or anyone else.
I have one thing I'd like to ask. I see that the fountain in the town square has been uncovered, but what is the plans of having that up and running?
We're hoping to get up by this weekend.
Oh, that'd be fine. And the other thing I'd like to thank you all for, the staff, everyone on staff, is the fact that we're finally on Lake Michigan water. And I haven't had any complaints. I was only teasing before about the smell of the water and the taste. Everybody seems very satisfied with the fact. And you said there'd be about 2 weeks before we are fully, our lines are filled with Lake Michigan water?
Most people by now probably should be noticing the difference at this point. It all gets down to use and how much water you're using to get it flushed through the system, but it's been pretty much full-time online since last Thursday, and we were drawing Lake Michigan water starting on Monday, so they should notice it about now. We have been getting some calls on pressure changes, and because we changed the direction of the flow, we're making tweaks there to try to get things leveled. And we're bringing towers up slowly so we don't adjust pressures too quickly. But we initially received some cloudiness complaints, but we haven't been getting those. It's been more about pressure that we're just fine tuning as we go, so.
Nothing regarding any damage or anything, right?
Damage is, well, we had a water main break the other day, but we don't know if it's related to the change or not, so. There could be some of that as you change pressure. Some water mains only need that little bit of change and it's ready to pop, but hopefully we don't get a flood of them, you know.
Thanks, Dan.
How are we doing with all the rain we've been getting over the last 3 weeks?
I wish it would stop. It is very wet everywhere, so any drop that comes down has nowhere to go at this point. So we have, I know the building department and Public Works, we actually met today, and we're meeting weekly to kind of go through the list of complaints that we receive and find out what the solutions are that we can take care of. But there's a lot out there right now. Fortunately, it's not, you know, flooding into the house type thing. It's backyard drainage issues that we need to plan for, you know, future improvements probably.
Do we have to use the Devon excess flow plan?
Oh, that, are you talking about, well, that's for wastewater.
Yeah.
We continue to work on that, but I know the FEMA project that we did several years ago, that is working very well. So.
Thank you, Dan.
I'm sure our golf course staff wishes the rain would stop also.
I noticed that the pond at Bartlett Place, so that's 59 and Apple Valley, still looking really scummy. We talked about it in the fall. It's real scummy. It's got lots of junk in it. Not a lot, but it's got quite a bit of debris. What's our, you know what our status is on that?
We've been working with the Forest Preserve, and we're actually getting ready to send them a letter from the mayor to the Forest Preserve. The issue there is downstream, west of 59.
Okay.
The beavers are busy damming things up, and that pond can't drain.
Okay.
So until we can get to the west fixed, we can't really get them to fix their issue. So we're hoping that they'll be able to do some cleanup over there, but it's too wet for them to get in there now. So we need it to dry out so that they can get in there, do some cleanup, and then we've already been working with the business there, but he's got a point. He can't really do anything until the water levels drop.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? The next item we'll be moving into is the town hall portion of our meeting. Does anyone have any comments or statements they would like to make to the board? And if so, step up to the podium, state your name and address, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Joseph Olson. I'm a 41-year resident of the community, and I live in Quail Hollow, 1117 Independence Drive. I am here today because I am concerned about what has happened, not recently, but been reported recently. Last Wednesday, I attended the village breakfast, and the mayor, in all of his comments, said nothing about this topic, although he praised the police department. I'm referring to the Bartlett police hazing incident, and I am very concerned. I have a series of questions, and I want you to think about these. Do our police officers wear body cams that would record their actions? Why did it take 5 years to come to light? Is the police chief out of touch with the officers so that he had no idea what had occurred within his department? And why was such light punishment applied? Were the involved officers psychiatrically evaluated to determine their fitness to continue in the role of policemen? What steps have been taken to ensure that future officers are properly evaluated prior to being hired for their fitness and ability to make good judgment calls? Why should the residents of this community feel comfortable that we aren't setting ourselves up for a situation such as a Chicago police officer who was recently convicted of shooting down a civilian? Poor judgment. And have you looked at insurance liability in light of what has happened to ensure that the village is adequately covered, given the fact that other steps have not been taken? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Olson. Anyone else would like to make comments or statements to the board? Hearing none, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, which is the standing committee reports. However, since all items have been covered under the consent agenda, I think we pretty much have covered that. Don't you agree?
Fine with that.
Good. So next would be new business. Does anyone have any new business they would like to discuss? Nothing?
I have it pretty easy this evening.
Apparently. This may be a record. Anyone have any other questions? I know the weather's been pretty bad, Dan, with the flower baskets, but are they coming along? Are we going to be able to come up with something when the weather gets a little warmer?
Excuse me. We checked in with the nursery, and they said they needed another 7 to 10 days, so hopefully sometime next week, we should be able to get them, and we'll hang them right as soon as we get them, so.
Very good.
Are the flower baskets going to be the same as in years past?
They're actually a little bigger, and this year we are trying, they have self-watering, so it has a reservoir that we can fill up maybe once or twice a week, that hopefully is going to water and keep them watered. We'll see how it works.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Mr. President, I did forget one thing. I just want to make note of the fact that the Bartlett Lions Club, they're having their golf outing this June 6th. I don't know if any board members are interested. I know Trustee Ranky had played. I know that Trustee Hopkins had played at one time. If you need any information on that, and well, you're a member, so I know you get it, so, but I have it here also. That's all. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Well, before moving on into our next item, I just want to state that we will be moving immediately into the committee of the whole meeting following our adjournment. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Motion by Trustee Ranky, seconded by Trustee Hopkins. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kammer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Brenya?
Yes.
Hopkins? Ranky?
Yes.
We are adjourned.